What the fuck do you mean?
Hi, we're Red Place Productions, and we're going to tell you a little bit about our filmmaking journey. So this episode is interesting because it's actually about our first feature film, Makeup. It took a lot to get this film made. Basically over the span of 2 years is what it took, because there was COVID lockdowns in the way. We ended up reshooting a lot of stuff. I think the shoot ended up being something like 33, 34 days in total.
And we shot sort of in between Four Queens, in between Blind Innocent, in between community service and If Not Freedom, I think.
And the funny thing about this film is that Will and I actually starred in the film.
Anyway, I'm at my front door. I'll talk to you later. Fuck, you've been waiting here long.
Little bit, sir.
You should have texted me. Work was a fucking nightmare.
I did, actually.
So we were the lead characters, and I've acted in the past, but I wasn't that set on acting. I really wanted to direct. But you know, my character Sacha is actually kind of loosely based on my dad, who I think is a very entertaining, funny person to observe. And I basically based him off on him, and I just thought, you know, I don't know who I could get to play this character. Like, I just saw myself in this character so much. And then Will and I began speaking about the film, and it just made sense. Like, our dynamic made sense, because the film is essentially about two people on their journey to some kind of compatibility, right? Some kind of friendship. So Will and I naturally, obviously, are very good friends. So it made sense us acting these two lead roles together, because it is a film about friendship. Weirdly enough, the idea came to me on the exact same day, actually the exact same moment that I screened Soul Forest, my first short film, to Will and our previous business partner. I remember screening the film to them and, you know, them complimenting it and everything else. And at the end of the film, almost intuitively, I had this random idea for another film. But it was like very, you know, loose. I didn't have anything concrete in my mind, just like the idea of these characters.
And it was loosely based on one character from Seven Suspects called Gloria.
My name is Gloria S. Vagina. I can show you if you like.
It was based on...
Which ironically was the first film that we'd acted together in too.
My client has agreed to speak for himself for this question.
Thank you.
Yeah, so there was lots of weird connections. Maybe it was subconscious, I don't know. And I came to Will with this idea for this film, and it's basically about a closeted man who wants to be a burlesque dancer. He wants to be a performer, but in his life and in his day job, he's extroverted, he's, you know, a manly man, whatever you want to call it. But he has this other side to him where he wants to be a performer, where he wants to embrace his feminine side. It's really just a sweet, intimate film about a friendship between two people, between an introvert and an extrovert from very different walks of life coming together. And that, you know, and that's why I thought it was so funny that it would be us two playing the characters, because, you know, we both had a bit of experience acting and we just fit the character description so well. I came to Will with the idea, and we began writing it after I kind of came up with the general gist. I don't know how long it took to write. I want to say like 3 months.
Well, we were constantly doing rewrites because we were figuring things out as we were shooting as well, which, you know, it's first feature film, and, you know, even on huge productions, they're figuring things out on the day that weren't scripted.
Will you? Or will we, is it a Thursday and you don't want to drink on Thursday?
Oh yeah, Thursday.
You know, it's always a learning curve, no matter what project it's been. We are constantly learning and changing things and making things work because of environment and adapting.
It's more like you need to get the impression of like, I'm still like in this moment of reflection, and then it's broken out, so it's just...
You could even, the only way to do it would be down here, handheld. Like right here.
And get both of them in.
And then, and then have them in, and then cut the track back.
Oh, I just don't know if I like that, how that would transition. I know what you're saying, it's a nice idea, but I just think, how's it going to come?
We're still pretty early on time.
Do you want to just frame it up?
One shot by two.
Yes. Thank you. Enjoy.
So yeah, it was a constant change.
And it was our first feature film. You know, we'd never done something on this scale, you know, a 90-minute film. The process was definitely different as well, because what we ended up doing, I think we spent, I want to say 2 or 3 months writing the initial script, something like that, on and off. And then we decided to shoot this kind of campaign video, right, for Indiegogo to raise some funds. And we shot this. What's really funny looking back now is that it's completely different to the film that we have. Because this campaign video that we shot, we imagined the film being a lot darker and more intense and more of a drama, like a psychological, kind of like a thriller in a way, not a thriller, but you know, it was a dark kind of drama. And that's how we pitched it, right? And we put it on Indiegogo, and you know, we ended up doing quite well on Indiegogo. We got quite a decent amount of investment and all the rest of it. But then the film ended up being something completely different. It ended up having like this comedic side to it, and it ended up being a lot more lighthearted and a lot more relatable in a way. You know, it's just almost like everyday interactions and how we can make it interesting and new and unique.
Have you been exerting yourself recently?
Well, not usually, but this morning I did actually play a bit of squash.
Squash?
Squash, yes.
Squash.
With the bat and
the balls. The bat and the balls.
It's just one ball. The bat and the ball.
Cool.
Through the Indiegogo campaign, I actually first spoke to Lucas Ferrara, who is now a producer that we've worked with on multiple productions. And Lucas was probably the first producer that really believed in me and who really helped take my career to the next stage. He was a pillar to this film that was very much needed, right? To kind of up the professionalism, to up the scale and everything. And he was so invested in the film and in us as filmmakers that we work with him to this day. And it was a long time ago that we initially tried to get the funding. And then, yeah, we started shooting. We shot a few days, but then COVID happened. I think we actually scheduled the first few days right before the lockdown or something like that. And then COVID happened, lockdowns got in the way. And then by the time we came back to filming, Will had already been shooting 4 Queens. We both looked different as well, because it was a thing that, you know, I had to have a beard and long hair and Will had to be clean shaven and very like slick. So we both looked different, and also we reviewed the footage and we both wanted a different kind of film. So we ended up scrapping a lot of the material and reshooting it at the beginning of 2021. And then after everything was shot, there was a lot of teamwork to put it all together. We put it out in film festivals and it did quite well. Quite a few nominations.
You know, we did some of our biggest shoot days on this film. We had 30 extras on a night shoot once in a restaurant.
In the middle of Piccadilly.
Yeah, it was
insane. Like, we'd worked at a scale that we'd never worked at before. And I remember we were hyping ourselves up on the way to that shoot day, because it was our first like huge shoot day, right? Where we could really see the scale of this production and where it was going. And I remember us hyping ourselves up in the car.
Red Blazer Productions, here we are.
And you know, there was a bunch of people in suits, well dressed, whatever, and we were sitting them at these tables. And then we had this big like 6-seat table where this, you know, scene was happening in the middle, and it was in the middle of this amazing restaurant with like paintings on the walls. It was crazy.
Okay guys, same as before, just Starkey and Will, keep your distance please. Okay, and action.
We ended up having a couple of more days like that on the film, not necessarily in something that grand, but you know, like big shoot days where there were 20, 30 extras.
Set, and action.
That was a new experience for us, and especially for me, you know, directing these people, it was great. I mean, I loved every minute of it, and I think about it all the time, to be honest. It was just a great experience and a great time in our lives as well.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. And you know, I think what has attracted me to performing throughout my career has been pushing comfort zones. You know, I had to do a burlesque dance in front of an audience of people, and it's just something that you're never gonna do unless you're pursuing burlesque as a passion or as a career. You know, I've always been afraid of public speaking and having to do public dancing, which is something that I'm not, you know, remotely good at. You know, it's about pushing those boundaries and
Definitely.
pushing your limitations, and it was a great project because it pushed both of our limitations.
Definitely. I mean, and you know, I want to say that I did try to help him with this. Like I was there for the dancing rehearsals and we were dancing together. I'm not sure whether we should show the videos or not, but we rehearsed together because even though I wasn't going to dance in the film, I wanted to be a part of it and I wanted to see how it felt to do what I was asking Will to do, kind of thing. It was a great experience. It was great bonding. It was a lot of fun. You know, thank you to Adele who basically choreographed us, or Will especially. And it was just a great experience, and it was very different as well to my style of filmmaking. You know, I think Will touched on this on one of the earlier episodes, but I usually go down the route of sort of like psychological thrillers, dystopian films, which is, I would say, the main genre I focus on. But this film is a complete opposite to that. You know, it's a film about friendship. It's sweet. It's got comedy. It's got drama. So it was nice to do that. And I think the only reason I managed to make a film like that isn't naturally in my comfort zone is because of Will, to be honest. Because of the friendship that we have, and I could take a lot of aspects of our own personal lives and put it into the film. Yeah, it wouldn't have been possible basically without him, without all the people around us.
And I think obviously like the way we grew up, and people are always trying to be something that they're not, and this film is very much about just do what you want to do and be who you want to be. And I think the comedy aside, the message of it is very important and true to who we are as filmmakers and the kind of messages that we want to deliver to our audience, because you know, life is short, so why don't you just go out and take the risk and do something that makes you happy?
The message is acceptance, you know, that's what the film is about, and I think that's what we portrayed. We're both very proud of the film, and you know, it's been really tough to get it together, especially on the budget that we had. You know, the budget was, I guess, larger than the short film budgets we had, but in terms of feature film, you know, we had to pull in a lot of favors and be very resourceful with the way that we were doing things, otherwise it wouldn't have been made, you know. And the idea and the concept of it was that I wanted to make the film look as if it cost 10 times more than it did. You know what I mean? I wanted that production value to seem as if it was so much larger than what it was, just by being resourceful and by putting our minds to it. And not being wasteful.
That's the trick as well with filmmaking, at the beginning at least, is trying to make 1,000 look like 10,000 or 10,000 look like 100,000.
Yeah.
And I think if your investors can see that you can put value to a project that didn't cost as much as people might think it cost, then
they're willing to take it to the next stage.
Yeah, they're going to help you take it to the next one. Yeah.
We're very proud of it. It's done really well in film festivals, and now it is being distributed. We have a distribution deal, which we're also really happy about. It feels quite overwhelming actually being in the distributing space, and dealing with distribution is tough. Getting all the deliverables, and you know, these are things that we probably didn't even think we were capable of 2-3 years ago when makeup first came about. So it was a bit of a reality check. You know, like, oh, I really need to get my shit together because it was hard to take a film that was supposed to be just an indie feature film, and now putting it into distribution is tough, and I'm really excited for you guys to watch it. I mean, all the information will be in the description, how to watch it, links to platforms, etc. So please check it out.
44G, take 4.
Shambole, 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 shambole. Ready? Action.